Have you ever pointed this thing at something like a totem pole and found a larger pest than an insect?
I have. Yes. Yeah.
What kind?
Raccoon.
Amazing.
Yeah, sure.
And you see him just like...
Yeah, exactly. Right, that's true.
Hey everybody, Adam Savage, and I am at the National Parks Museum Conservation Labs with Curtis. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
We're going to talk meters, but Curtis, you were telling me that half of your job here at the National Park Service involves traveling to remote locations. What are you doing when you're traveling?
So when I'm traveling, it can be a couple of different things. Either a survey. Sometimes we're surveying artifacts.
Surveying, so they'll have an object in situ and they can't ship it for some reason?
Exactly. So usually they're too large.
Okay, so you're going out to look at big stuff.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Yeah. And surveying means you're assessing its current condition, assessing maybe what kind of things what strategies might be needed for mitigating its condition, et cetera?
That's true.
Okay. Yeah. So then every trip involves after action reports.
It does.
Okay.
Yes. Very much so.
That's one of the things. What else do you go out and do in the field?
So sometimes, we're actually there for emergency response if we have some kind of incident.
Oh, an incident with one of your artifacts.
Or it could be an entire site. So like a hurricane, if there's a hurricane, or a fire potentially.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're going out for the worst reason.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
And usually it's after, it's not during the actual event. So we'll go and we'll assess what's there to see what kind of damage has happened.
Okay. And are you ever, I would doubt this is true, but are you ever out there trying to enact fixes in the field?
That is true. Sometimes
sometimes
there is some triage.
Yeah.
You're correct. Yes.
So then I'm assuming that you go out with a complement of metering and measuring equipment to handle everything you can't think of.
That is true.
And is this a collection that is born of the institutional knowledge of showing up without the thing you needed, making sure that'll never happen again?
Yes.
Okay.
And actually, all these things fit into my case. Sure. Kind of pack them on there. Yeah.
I get terrified when I check those with an airline. That's why I love AirTags now, right? I throw one in every bag. Okay, let's just start here. I recognize a few of these objects, but why don't you walk me through and tell me what each one does and why it's in your case?
Sure. So we kind of carry the standard, I'm going to call it the standard meter. So this meter will give us relative humidity, temperature, and light readings.
Okay, so it's just sort of a condition meter for a room that something is in, both environmentally and light and all that.
Exactly.
Okay.
So kind of a baseline.
Amazing.
So then we know what the space is like. If it's a visitor center we're in, we know what the condition is for where those objects are at. If it's a museum storage, we know what the.
So this is like one of the very first readings you take.
It is.
It's also quite a beautiful object.
It is. Yeah.
Like whoever built this has a real sense of form. Yeah.
I would agree.
Okay. This one is labeled the thickness, and I'm like super curious. What does this measure?
So
obviously thickness,
yes.
but I don't know what that means.
So we have a couple different ways to measure thickness on coatings.
Oh, okay.
So coatings thickness.
That's what this is measuring.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Like shellacs and varnishes and waxes.
Yes.
What are other things that people coat stuff with in your...
Paints.
Oh,
so
right.
Paints as well.
Okay. And is it a thickness of a coating over wood or metal, or can it be any material? Do you have to know the material?
So the beauty of kind of two different pieces of equipment, this particular little meter is one that actually will measure one coating system, but it's only good for ferrous. It's only good for iron. But we can give a really quick, check on something that's iron and get a reading.
And that will tell you how much distance between its nose and the metal.
Exactly.
Which tells you,
okay. Right.
And I would assume these measure at a sub-micron accuracy. Okay.
They do, yeah.
So that's just for ferrous materials, which I guess when you're going back to the past, a lot of the metal stuff is ferrous.
Sure.
What is this one?
So the beauty of this one, and this one is not ultrasonic because it is magnetic.
Oh, of course.
Exactly.
Inverse square law, that's all it's worrying about.
So this meter, which, with its transducer.
Oh, it's got a little sonic ping.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this one, the beauty of this is it actually will give us multiple coats on any substrates. I love the beauty of how it can do this because ultrasonic, it actually can tell for the not always completely accurate for every single artifact. It depends on the substrate, but it at least gives us the number of coatings.
Right.
And it will give us the thickness of each of these
coatings. The number of coatings.
It will.
Yes. Wow, That's it can do that fidelity of like, it's 6.
Exactly.
What about a French polish? How would they figure that out? What is the reason that the thickness of a coating matters for conservation?
So in conservation, we're interested in the thickness of the coatings because we're going to sometimes put other coatings on top. And we want to know what's there already.
Okay.
Sometimes we're also monitoring, coatings that are put on by others. So we need to know how thick those coatings are.
It's only recently I've realized that conservationist's job, a lot of it is undoing our previous poor knowledge of conservation.
That's true. Yeah.
And I don't imagine that you guys hold any enmity for your forebears, just they didn't know as much as you know now.
They're right. I think right, exactly. At this point, there's much more better technology out there. There's things that we...
Well, and there's also been different philosophies, too, of conservation. There were times they were coating everything in shellac, I'm sure, and not thinking about stabilizing a piece at this moment with anything but wax. Okay, let's move on. What else we got here? I don't recognize either of these.
Yeah, so, when you're looking at things that are waterlogged, especially in wood, you need to know what the moisture content is.
Sure.
Yeah. So these 3 instruments
These are all 3?
Yes, all 3 of these measure the moisture content.
Why 3? Why 3 different
Well,
ones?
I want to show you 3 just because things have changed a lot.
Okay.
In technology, it used to be that our only method of checking, for...
Right, was conductivity with 2 points. And conservationists don't like jamming points into things.
No, not at all. Right. So, as things have come, fast forward, we have better meters that can do that, with non-destructive techniques.
And how does this one work? Do you know?
Similar technology. It's it kind of does the same thing. It's putting it down, and I believe it's at an angle, and then we get a reading. Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it just sits there and tells you. Well, how beautiful is that? That's hilarious. I just love that. Okay, and then what's the third one for?
So the third one is very similar to this one. The only difference is this particular device I might be interested in using if I was working on other materials other than wood. So this will help me with concrete, drywall, other porous materials.
Gotcha. So you can scroll through and it knows its library and how to assess its signal.
Right.
That is really cool. Yeah. So is this one, you're just keeping this around for sentimental value?
Pretty much. Yeah. Or to demonstrate.
Right.
Case, yeah.
And it's seen a lot of miles with you, I imagine.
It has. I think that was 1982, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Lignomat. I love that. Yeah. That's amazing. I see you've got a Fluke thermal camera there.
Yes.
I have one of those myself. I love their equipment. I love that yellow. That yellow just makes me feel like I'm working.
And so typically this goes in the field with me. I don't really use these other instruments. Sometimes we find use for them in the lab. This not particularly. So the reason I have this in my library of things is that it helps me with if we have insects inside wood because they're full of moisture.
Yes.
And many times I can see that very readily
that
inside,
activity.
Especially things like totem poles.
Right.
Or other large.
Right.
Yes,
if you've got some pests in a totem pole, this could really help you see.
It does help. Yeah.
That is so cool. Unless you can train a woodpecker to tell you where they are.
That's true.
Have you ever pointed this thing at something like a totem pole and found a larger pest than an insect?
I have. Yes. Yeah.
What kind?
Raccoon.
Amazing.
Yeah, sure.
And you see him just like...
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's true.
That's hilarious. I mean, I would imagine every place you go is different from all the other places you've been.
They are.
And yet, because you're traveling with the same set of tools, I would imagine that you have a kind of a protocol for approaching each site. And I would imagine further that once you understand how you're approaching, the list of what you use just cascades in.
It's true.
Is that really how?
That's true.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What is sort of the first thing you look for to assess what you're going to do on a site?
Usually we have a little bit of intel.
Sure.
We've been given some kind of cue if it's water damage, if it's a aftermath of maybe a fire. Unfortunately, you had some sites, smoke damage. Sometimes.
Yep.
So that intel then will go into kind of the first thing, which am I going to need to do some kind of basic monitoring, or am I actually going to jump right into? If it's a waterlogged site of some sort, I might jump right into.
Then those are coming out.
Right. Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I see you've got a boroscope. One of my favorite tools in the world.
Mine too.
The boroscopes are so much fun.
They are.
What kind of stuff do you use the boroscope for?
Yeah, so the boroscope is used a lot in those surveys like I was talking about. So, I survey a variety of things in the field. Probably one of the strangest things I've ever surveyed using some of this equipment, especially this one, is the remains of the wooden saltpeter mines inside of Mammoth Cave.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So this is putting this in spaces that aren't big enough for you or not safe for you or a little both?
Yeah. Yes, both.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So we can see what's inside.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
And I know that Fluke makes longer boroscope cameras.
They do.
Oh,
Well, great. So yes, we do.
Yes.
So they can feed. So I can feed that in.
Wow,
Yes.
I didn't know they made them this long.
30 meters.
30 meters. You are psyched. Oh, that is so cool. So you can kind of go look at anything.
It does. Yeah, pretty much. You're right.
That's fascinating. Oh man.
So you're feeding that into a historic. But so these are wood.
Yeah.
They would use the wood tubes, and troughs to carry the material around
Oh, of
in the
course,
space.
that was how they did their plumbing.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're going all the way into that stuff. Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Yeah. Looking for degradation,
Right.
Insects, pests.
Fascinating. Curtis, I see a lot of meters here, but also a flashlight. What does the flashlight do for you out in the field?
So in this case, this flashlight is one that has typical, flashlight features as well as UV.
Oh, ultraviolet in the... Wow, I felt that right away. That's a strong one. So what does ultraviolet light tell you out in the field?
Many times it can help us if there's, mold on a surface.
Right.
Especially if I'm in somewhere where it's, water damaged. In other cases, if there's water that's actually affected that finish, you'll see a difference in those.
It would also help you, I imagine, see if someone's put a coating on.
That's true.
And that also might help you isolate when that coating went on, depending on the
some
materials.
idea. Sure.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Oh, so fluorescing things are really important to you.
It is
I'm going to make a guess that the ultrasonic and the UV might be the two most common things you use.
You are correct.
That is so cool. I mean, because you can get these on eBay for $20. Yeah. And they're getting more and more powerful, as I've been discovering.
This is pretty powerful.
Yeah. It's super cool. Now we're in the realm I have no idea what's going on. I see a plexi tube and some what look like ear cups. What is going on here? What is this?
So what you see two different types of technology doing the same thing, non-destructive testing for density. And we're using this for wood specifically.
And you're using that to try and identify the wood? Or?
No. So actually we're using it for if we have degradation, if we have rot, if we have insect damage.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a device for being able to tell, looking at a material and tell where it's more and less dense.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that helps you find spots you may need to take out and repair or just stop them from getting softer.
Yeah.
Okay. How does that work? What's going on here?
So many, many decades ago, the same kind of equipment, which you would actually listen to the different tones.
Oh, you'd sit there and be like, woo!
Exactly. That's right.
Wow.
So we were using similar, kinds of transducers. So that has a transducer, same as this piece of equipment. But the transducers in this case were a box, and a meter. And you listen for a different tone to give you an idea of how dense the material was.
I gotcha. And it's putting it, all right, go ahead, sorry.
We would grid pattern that.
And then draw it out okay. Now I understand what's going on. That's your calibration.
Exactly.
That's your calibration. And then those are your monitors. And this helps you know that they're going to get the right reading.
Yeah, so the newer technology, which is pretty amazing because it actually gives you a graph showing,
Oh, it gives you the graph that you would normally have drawn. Oh man, that's so
we had to hand draw it, exactly. So, transducers on either side of a totem pole, let's say. Mm-hmm. And you're measuring.
Oh, and it measured that far?
It will.
Oh, fabulous.
Up to about 4 feet.
Holy cow. And tell you whether the density within it is the same, or will it tell you that within that depth, less dense at the back, more dense at the front?
So to a degree, so it is. So it's ultrasonic.
Right.
It's pulse.
Right.
It's sending a pulse through that from one transducer.
So it's able to get a picture of the whole column it's sending that pulse through. Oh,
that's true.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That feels like that probably gets more use in the field than most other things.
It does. Yeah.
Oh man. That's really cool. And it's taking that ultrasonic pulse and not feeding it through earphones. It's interpreting it and just giving it to you on the computer.
Exactly.
Oh, that's much better. But you're holding on to this for nostalgia? This old friend has traveled with you many miles?
Has. Yes, it has.
I totally feel you.
Correct.
Curtis, I, as you can imagine, I built a large collection of meters on Mythbusters, and nothing made me happier than putting them all in the same Pelican case. I'm jealous you get to travel with a roster all the time.
It is
man.
pretty cool.
That is really, really neat. Thank you for taking me through this.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for watching. One of my favorite things we make in our tested store are demerit badges. These are like scout badges, but for screwing stuff up, because screwing up is not just a part of the making process, it is intrinsic to it, and we like to celebrate that. We've got 27 so far in the supervisors bundle that you can go buy right now by clicking on the link in the description, but we also have a booster pack of some brand new patches. This is the demerit badge for burning off your eyebrow. I am proudly sewing that to all of my clothes. This is the demerit badge for having a messy workbench, which I do not get today. My workbench is super clean. And we have new octagonal patches that are, merit badges. This is the merit badge for sweeping up your shop. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you. And this, oh my God, this is great. This is the merit badge for creating a clean space on your bench. Hey, we got to take our successes where they come and meet them there. Go to the tested-store.com or adamsavage.com to buy any of these, or click on a link in the description.